Welcome to Skytech-Lens. The news arrived not with a bang, but with the chilling finality of a corporate memo. On what should have been an ordinary day in Amherstburg, Ontario, Diageo announced the closure of the Crown Royal bottling plant, a pillar of the town's identity and economy. The shock was immediate, rippling through homes and businesses alike. For hundreds of workers, this wasn't just a job loss, it was the erasure of a future built shift by shift. The plant was more than a workplace, it was a family, a source of pride, and the heartbeat of the community. The closure meant the loss of stable jobs in a region where such opportunities are rare. Local businesses, from coffee shops to suppliers, braced for the fallout. The plant's payroll was the lifeblood of Amherstburg's economy. Its absence would leave a void. The decision felt like a betrayal, prioritizing profit over people who had built the brand's legacy. As grief turned to anger, questions surfaced. Why close a successful plant? Why now? The answer was cold. A business calculation made far from the town's quiet streets. For Amherstburg, it was a bitter pill, one that would reshape the town's future. Diageo's explanation was blunt. Crown Royal Bottling would move to a new state-of-the-art facility in Illinois. The move was framed as a strategic consolidation, streamlining supply chains, boosting efficiency, and serving the U.S. market more directly. For Diageo, loyalty to place was secondary to shareholder value. The Illinois plant promised lower costs and higher output, a textbook case of modern corporate strategy. Years of analysis led to this. The U.S. offered better tax rates, fewer regulatory hurdles, and enticing incentives. The decision wasn't sudden, it was the result of careful planning. For Amherstburg's workers, the corporate rationale felt hollow. They weren't just numbers, they were skilled professionals, proud of their craft. The move wasn't just about machinery, it was the transfer of a Canadian legacy, boxed up and shipped away. The language of synergies and optimization rang empty in the face of lost livelihoods. For the community, the loss was personal and irreplaceable. Crown Royal is more than a whiskey, it's a Canadian icon, born from a royal visit and steeped in national pride. Since 1939, the Amherstburg plant was the final guardian of that legacy, bottling and dressing each bottle in its signature purple bag. For many families, working at the plant was a tradition, a birthright passed down through generations. The plant sponsored local teams, supported events, and was woven into the town's fabric. Workers took pride in their role as custodians of a national treasure. Every bottle shipped carried a piece of Canadian history. The purple bag became a quirky symbol of Canadiana, repurposed in homes across the country. The closure felt like a tear in that cultural fabric. Could Crown Royal remain truly Canadian if it wasn't bottled by Canadian hands? For Amherstburg, the answer was clear. The spirit of the brand was inseparable from the spirit of the community. The closure wasn't about poor performance, the Amherstburg plant was thriving. Workers met targets, maintained quality, and fueled Crown Royal's growing popularity. There were no strikes, no scandals, just a well-run operation. The decision was strategic capital flight in search of better returns. Workers weren't let go for failing, they were casualties of a global business climate. This wasn't a failing factory, it was a warning that even success isn't safe. Corporate loyalty proved fleeting. Boardroom decisions trumped decades of local commitment. The narrative of failure didn't fit. This was a calculated move to a more welcoming jurisdiction. Diageo wasn't fleeing problems, it was chasing opportunity. For workers, it was a bitter truth that their success built the brand, but it couldn't keep the jobs in Canada. The closure was proactive, not reactive, a harsh lesson in global economics. Amherstburg's loss was a symptom of a deeper, systemic challenge. Diageo's decision didn't happen in isolation. Canada's business climate, marked by high taxes, complex regulations, and rising costs, has become a challenge for many companies. Payroll taxes, energy costs, and carbon pricing add up, making it expensive to operate and hire. Navigating federal, provincial, and municipal red tape slows investment and expansion. For global corporations, speed and predictability matter, and Canada's system can feel cumbersome. The Crown Royal closure became a high-profile example of these pressures. Even heritage brands aren't immune when economic fundamentals tip the scales. Diageo's move was a vote of no confidence in Canada's competitiveness. In contrast, the U.S. offers a more enticing deal for big business. Lower taxes, fewer regulations, and aggressive incentives make states like Illinois hard to resist. Diageo found a willing partner, with tax breaks, grants, and workforce support on the table. The American system prioritizes growth and job creation, often with fewer strings attached. Proximity to the massive U.S. market slashes logistics costs and speeds up delivery. The Illinois move wasn't just about saving money. It was about building a more efficient supply chain. The business case was clear: financial incentives, logistical advantages, and a pro-business culture. Canada's stable society and skilled workforce couldn't compete with the American offer. The closure became a tale of two economic philosophies: social programs versus corporate competitiveness. Ontario Premier Doug Ford's response was swift and fierce. He condemned Diageo's decision as a betrayal, vowing to fight for the workers and demanding a reversal. Ford's outrage echoed across Ontario, tapping into a deep sense of grievance. The closure became a rallying cry for a more competitive province. On the ground, Amherstburg rallied. Workers and families protested, pleading for Diageo to reconsider. Union leaders shared stories of dedication and loss, urging the company to honor its moral obligation. The protests underscored the brand's deep connection to Canadian identity. Yet despite the noise, the corporate decision stood firm, a stark reminder of the limits of local power. While Ford's outrage was loud, silence reigned among Canada's economic strategists. Influential voices like Mark Carney, champions of stakeholder capitalism, offered little public comment. The gap between theory and reality was glaring. Ideals of social responsibility clashed with shareholder primacy. The federal government's response was muted, offering support but little action. For workers, it felt like abandonment. They sought national champions and found few. The silence exposed a critical challenge: how to balance progressive goals with industrial competitiveness. The Crown Royal saga revealed the gap between aspirational rhetoric and global economic realities. Without a clear national strategy, more companies may quietly follow Diageo's lead. Crown Royal's departure is more than an economic loss. It's a blow to the Canadian psyche. For decades, the whiskey was a symbol of national pride, bottled by Canadian hands. The move to Illinois severs that connection, turning a Canadian icon into just another US-made brand. The loss resonates beyond Amherstburg, echoing across the country. Each closure chips away at Canada's industrial identity. The Crown Royal story is a warning. Even iconic brands aren't immune to global pressures. Without action on business costs and competitiveness, Canada risks losing more than jobs. It risks losing its legacy. Amherstburg's story is a call to action. What kind of economy do we want to build? Will we create and manufacture, or watch our heritage be shipped elsewhere? If nothing changes, more of our national identity may be bottled and sent from beyond our borders, leaving communities behind. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel for more updates.